afternoon. Our first inductee this afternoon is Robert Bob Lang, born in 1944. Robert Lang was the founding executive director of the International Livestock Management School, known as the ILMS, from 1986 to 2001. The ILMS vision was to teach international agriculturalists about techniques and programs developed to Ontario to improve livestock agriculture in their homelands. Over the years, the relationships developed have also enabled many Ontario agribusinesses to expand their sales of products and services into numerous markets overseas. Bob was also a dairy cattle specialist with OMAFRA and was part of a team which developed the first computer-based dairy cattle feed formulation system by analyzing feedstuffs and maximizing the cost-effective use of on-farm feed. This resulted in improved animal health as well as feed cost savings for producers. As president of the Ontario Association of Animal Breeders from 1981 to 1986, he facilitated the sharing of genetically proven sires across Ontario through 3 AI cooperatives to accelerate genetic progress in beef and dairy animals. While at OAAB, he also helped establish 2 research chairs at the University of Guelph in dairy cattle breeding and embryo production, and at the same time, he was working to create the Centre for Genetic Improvement of Livestock. From 1979 to 1986, as associate manager at Eastern Breeders Incorporated, he led the expansion of the Young Sires Proving Program, which made Ontario and Canada a world leader in dairy cattle genetics. Bob Lang has provided leadership to educate young producers through a regional program to focus on breed improvement tools to increase on-farm profitability. He has also spoken to hundreds of groups around the globe on improved livestock performance and management. These efforts have resulted in sustainable dairy and beef production in parts of the developing world, as well as the establishment of global appreciation for Ontario dairy and beef genetics. In 1992, he received the Rotary's Paul Harris Fellowship Award for effecting international understanding, friendship, and goodwill. Certainly, Robert Lang's extensive vision and impressive accomplishments make him a worthy inductee into the Ontario Agricultural Hall of Fame. Bob Lang has been nominated by Eastern Incorporated, and I'd now like to invite him to come to the stage.
Oh, stand on the stairs.
Well, thank you very much. And I really have to say that this is the first time in my life I've ever been called a giant. It's phenomenal. We have, my family is here that are residing in Canada. We have 4 children. 1 is in Australia, and 3 are here. The 3 here have their spouses with them, and 7 of our 9 grandchildren. So far, and just to put this giant in context, 2 of my grandsons are not yet 16, and both are almost 6'4", so I am actually genetically tall. That's just so John Core gets the message. Thank you very much to everyone that came here today. This is kind of an embarrassing situation because this kind of an award is really, in my perspective, an award that recognizes all of the farmers, the extension workers, the veterinarians, the service people, the managers, and the staff of the livestock industry in this great province of Ontario. They're the ones that gave impetus and opportunity for us to share the pride of ownership across the world of our livestock industry and our way of life. I would very much like to thank East Gen Board of Directors for nominating me, and particularly I would like to thank Brian O'Connor and Lori Wetzel, who took all of the information that they were given and turned it into a document that was very successful. The only thing I would say to them is I think that they actually ignored my handwritten notes, because even I can't read them anymore. I would like to thank my family for all of the time that they have given up of having their father and their grandfather around, and have been very welcoming of people who came into Canada. They did the same kind of thing that my colleagues and people from around the world have done in making people understand that livestock production and farming is more than just a business. It in fact is a very wonderful way of life. In conclusion, I'd just like to mention two heroes that I've had. One of whom passed away some time ago. His wife is here today, Margaret Barr. But Dr. George Barr, in 1968, was trying to knock some of the square corners off me. He wanted me to get more rounded, and university was the way to make that happen. And as we were talking about where to go, he said, you know, Bob, our cattle are much better bred than fed. What are you going to do about it? And that better bred than fed led into working on making genetics a leader that people who had the urgency and the interest and the willingness and skills to turn their business into profit could work on and get a response. I have many colleagues from the CMEX Canada organization who went out of their way to make sure that we could, in fact, share Canada's skills with people around the world and have a better life altogether. In closing, I'd just like to say that I'm a little bit disappointed because I spent a long time, as you could hear from some of the introduction, while I was trying to keep a job. You get a lot of experiences when you can't keep a job, let me tell you. One of the things that I was doing was putting out technology. At this end of my career, I want you to know that when we go back and visit with people around the world, they were interested in our technology. That's what attracted them here. But what keeps them back here, and the word is sustainable, is the people they met. It's all about relationships. Technology is a byproduct. It's an artifact. Thank you very much to everybody for coming this afternoon. Thanks.
Could the family and friends of Rob just rise for a minute? Be recognized also as you welcome him back to his chair.
Just so you know, this is a bunch of them. I thought raising 4 kids was expensive. Let me tell you, when you got 4 kids, 4 spouses, and 9 grandchildren, and 3 dogs, it's really tough. One of the things is our children from Australia couldn't come because the kids are it's winter over there, and they're just going into their winter school, and the grandchildren said they couldn't take Monday off to come over here for an afternoon. Thank you very much, all you guys, for coming and for your everlasting support.